Recently, Sasha Jones was assigned a client who had not slept in 12 days. This young man, Lucas Porter, looks dead on his feet. His eyes are bloodshot, his skin pale, and his hands tremble as he reaches to shake hers. She frowns, greeting him with a nod and motioning for him to sit in her office. "Good morning, Lucas. My name is Sasha Jones. Your papers say you have been suffering from night terrors. Would you like to talk about it?" Lucas sat in the chair offered to him and looked up at Sasha with tired eyes. "Miss Jones, have you ever been scared of your dreams?" he asked. She kept a professional demeanor, answering, "Our dreams often mirror our deepest fears and desires. But the notion of them materializing is unheard of." Lucas chuckled. "What if those dreams become real?" "What do you mean, Lucas?" "The night terrors. What if they are real?" Sasha leaned back in her chair, perplexed at what Lucas asked. She knew that dreams could never become reality, yet wondered if he had become schizophrenic due to the severity of the night terrors and lack of sleep. "Lucas, I believe we should do some psychological testing." Sasha put on her best smile and scribbled some notes on her notepad. Lucas scoffed and slapped his hands onto his knees a little too hard, causing the sound to make her jump in surprise. "I'm not schizophrenic. I know it sounds crazy, Miss Jones, but what I am telling you is true. My night terrors came to life." "Came to life? Would you elaborate?" Lucas looked over his shoulder at the door and scooted to the edge of his seat, lowering his voice. "I trapped him in my basement. If you're skeptical, come to my house tomorrow night, and I will show you he's real." Sasha sighed. "Very well. Our next meeting will be a home visit. But Lucas, you must understand that I will only do this once." He nodded, sitting back in his seat, pressing his lips tightly together. After they ended their session, she wrote down an appointment card and handed it to Lucas, who accepted it. "I'll see you tomorrow night." She smiled and watched him leave her office. Just what had she gotten herself into? Sasha wanted to help him, but the thought of him telling her that his night terrors became real was a great cause for concern. Lucas could be suffering from hallucinations. What if he kidnapped someone off the streets thinking they were a night terror and locked them up in his basement? She would most definitely have to get the police involved. Sasha followed the directions she was given to a cul-de-sac where Lucas lived. She parked her car in the driveway and stepped out of it, being greeted by her client, who looked just as tired as he did before. "Did you get any sleep?" "A little bit. A few minutes don't count." She scolded him, and he stepped aside for her to walk inside. Sasha pressed the button on the recorder. Just in case, she thought to herself as Lucas closed the door and walked around her to lead the way to the basement. He opened the door and led the way down. "Whatever you do, don't believe his lies. If he were to get loose, there is no telling what he would do." Sasha nodded and followed behind Lucas. At the bottom of the stairs in the middle of the room was a man tied to a wooden chair, his head bowed. Her first reaction was to run over and check on him, but an outstretched arm stopped her. "Don't get too close," her client warned her. A chuckle reverberated from the man in the chair, who rose high-head. He grinned, his teeth far too large for his mouth. "Welcome, Sasha. I would shake your hand, but as you can see, I'm tied up." The man laughed. His eyes were colorless, staring into her own. Sasha trembled. What was this feeling she was sensing from this person? "I told you that night terrors are real," mumbled Lucas. She looked at her client and then to the man, swallowing the lump in her throat. "When did he appear?" Sasha sat in a chair across from the man in the middle of the room. Lucas fidgeted in place, rubbing his right arm. "Maybe a few days ago. I woke up with him standing over me." She nodded and turned his focus back to the bound man. "Why are you here?" "An excellent question. Why am I here?" "To take Lucas's place, of course. It's rare for an opening such as this to occur, where a being such as I can slip through to the waking world. The night terror wants to take Lucas's place. So then where would Lucas go?" The man laughed. "You're wondering where he would go, aren't you? It's obvious, isn't it? Oh, I have a wonderful idea. Miss Jones, why don't you see for yourself? Untie me and shake my hand." Lucas placed a hand on Sasha's shoulder, as if to try and convince her not to listen to this man. But her curiosity outweighed her logical thinking. "I think we should try it." She stood and slowly walked toward the night terror. "Good, very good, you're curious." Sasha exhaled a shaky breath and sat down in a chair across from the man. "Who are you?" "I go by many names, but I'm more partial to the name Al." She knew this name. It was the name of a malevolent spirit who caused nightmares. But how was he able to manifest a physical body? It shouldn't be possible. Yet here I am in physical body, a living, a breathing nightmare. Alp chuckled and leaned back, staring up at the ceiling. I could have escaped so many times already, but toying with humans is too much fun. Besides, I have a useful source of energy to feed from right here, so why I would leave so soon before draining every drop of life force that I can. He dropped his head to look at Sasha, his eyes now entirely black. She stood from her chair and quickly stepped towards Lucas. "We must leave. Now," she said in a hushed voice, grabbing onto his forearm to pull him in the direction of the stairs. But he didn't budge. "Lucas, come on," Sasha urged, but she was pulled backwards, being made to investigate her client's tired eyes. "I'm sorry, Miss Jones." He paused and looked at Alp. "He won't leave unless he eats, and I'm so tired." Lucas walked her towards the nightmare, who chuckled that unnatural smile. "Don't worry, Sasha, it won't hurt at all. You won't feel a thing, and it will be as if you just went to sleep, dreaming an endless dream." Alp broke free from his ropes and lunged at the woman. A scream echoed up the stairs and echoed off the walls of the basement. Lucas got busy cleaning up the mess Alp had made, who was currently nursed his wrists. "Next time, could you not tie me up so tightly? If I don't, you'll feed too soon and waste the energy." Alp clicked his tongue and watched as Lucas skillfully wrapped up Sasha's body and lifted her up, heading up the stairs. He walked into the woods and behind his home and placed her body into a deep hole. Using a shovel, he covered her up until he couldn't see her anymore, planting a few batches of calendula on top of it. Using the back of his hand, he wiped the sweat from his brow, glancing around at the other mounds scattered about the small woods, along with more flowers. Lucas frowned. "How many more times do I have to do this?" he thought, leaving the forest and using the shovel to wipe away his footprints. As he entered his home, a note was left for him on the table. Leaning the shovel against the back door, he walked over and picked it up. "It's been a pleasure working with you, Lucas, but it's time for me to move on to another underling to do my biting. Don't worry about the bodies, I will have them taken care of so you can rest easy. A friend of mine has been looking forward to a satisfying meal or two. We will meet again in your dreams." Lucas laughed and slowly sat down, his laughter turning hysterical. He held his head in his hands, trembling. Finally, Lucas could get some rest because his night terror was now gone.